Welcome back, all of you, and moving on to our second segment for today. As we mentioned, we're talking about green landscapes. We have talked before about pocket gardens and how you can use very small items to make a beautiful garden in your house. This time, let's talk more about roof garden, especially when there is a space to use some items that you don't need. For example, recycling in this also will help a lot. You can just reuse something instead of buying something new, and still you can have a lovely garden again in your house. Today we have the pleasure to have Dr. Germin Farouk, of course, a professor of architecture at Ain Shams University. Good morning, doctor, and welcome back to the show.
Good morning, Nashwa.
Good morning, Dr. Al-Gohari. Let's first talk about the definition of a pocket garden. Is it a very small? It is the
Yes.
literally meaning?
Yes, the pocket
is
yes, it's a kind of the smallest space you have. You can insert something green inside it. So you can create any green space in the least space you have.
Just having a corner, and you can
it can be a corner, a balcony, a roof, as we're going to talk today.
Tell us more about the roof garden, because this is very, very important, especially for the beauty, for the eye itself.
For a lot of stuff, actually. It has a lot of functions. Nowadays, even if you in Europe and in America, they are using roof gardens as social spaces to meet after in business and to have their lunch and things like that. And they can sell some stuff also as an economic, not just an environmental aspect. So it's a beautiful space which is beautiful, space which is an economical, space that you can meet your friends at. And at a lot of cities, it's not used at all. So it's a way of this new sustainable development.
We use it to put old items, actually.
Yes, actually. Unfortunately. Stores, we use it as
Definitely, we do that.
Yes.
But we need someone to instruct us. Some people would create only a very little tiny corner into a heaven, or a haven. Like, for example, using different accessories that they are in fashion right now, like stones, like some statues, like some armchairs, wooden armchairs.
Make us just an aesthetic corner to look at.
Like corners. I mean, we need some suggestions for people who have very, very limited corners in their front yard, and they cannot do anything. Inspirations.
Actually, what I want to talk about, because we've talked about balcony before, if you remember, that you can install a lot of small stuff and color stuff in your balcony and create a nice aesthetic view. Now on your rooftop, because it's very sunny, you can put a piece of cloth. You can just make a small cover. This trial, actually, this is a very, very big one, big spaces. This is over, it's in a business center. That's what I was telling you, that people use it for events. They use it for social events. This kind of roof has actually two kinds to make this kind of roofs. There are one which is called extensive roof garden, and the other is intensive. Extensive one, actually, this is the one which is very low cost, that you can do anything, just a very tiny, small piece of mud or any media that you can put any kind of grass or small flowers on it, or maybe pots or something like that. But this is a combination, extensive and intensive, that you can put maybe some media like meter or something height, and you can install some trees too. People that actually this kind of roof we see, it has to be prepared before you do your your building. Even if you put this heavy stuff, the construction itself as for architecture, it has to be prepared for this kind of dead load, because really some of the intensive roof gardens are very heavy. It can reach to, 100 meters square. It can reach to 500 kilograms. So it's really heavy. So it has to be, ready constructed using very heavy duty concrete or things like that. If we don't want to do this, we can use the other kind, which is the extensive. We can use some pots, as we said. We can put a corner Yeah, this is a tiny one. This is the one I'm talking about. Just a small shed, just small shrubs, small grasses, tiny rocks. You can use some wood just to give the corner, as you said, small space, and you make it a very nice, actual aesthetic corner. So the big problem for roof gardens, which actually it's not made a lot here in Egypt because of the drainage, the water. If you didn't, do it from the beginning, actually, of course, if you put any water on it, it will get and collapse the building. It needs some extra preparations, not like normal insulation that we use in our normal homes. Just extra, some 2 layers or something like that for these small shrubs. Because you want to put less water, and at the same time you want to keep them alive. So we use, I don't know if it's going to come in here or not, but I prepared some photos. Do you know these containers of egg container? You know how it looks like having small cups together. There is a special like mat, it's called a rubber mat for this kind of roofs, that it looks exactly as the container of the eggs, but it will contain the water. You understand? To keep it, and you just put over it small layer. This is a very tiny. This one is a bit smaller in size. It has got some small shrub. This is in between. Its media can reach to 25 centimeters or something like that. So what I was telling you, you put these small cups under the mud with a small filter, and it keeps the water inside, so to keep it dehydrated all the time, and it keeps also it will act as a drainage, and it will keep air aerated for the roots of the plants over. So this is an extra, what we call an extra drainage and extra dehydrating and everything and you can put some water once a week or something like that. It's not easy to get outside, but at the same time you keep it green, you keep it beautiful, you keep it nice. This kind of stuff, it's not much used in Egypt because it's kind of still kind of not economic. But actually all over the world, it's one of the famous things that has been done, and there are now some schools in England that once I visited a school in London, that they are special. They are teaching their students how to plant only the roof, and so that's beautiful, of course. It's the future for the environment and for the sustainable development.
Of course, this is important. Just if it came to my mind, for example, talking about sustainable development and the beauty of the country. If you are looking on the roofs in general, I don't want to see garbage, or I don't want to see storage, for example.
And animals.
Yes, definitely.
Yes,
when
rats,
you see
rats
something
and
like
insects.
it has to do for protecting even the environment. Even using some very simple stuff, as you said.
Few years ago, I think there was a project in Manshat Nasser or something that I've heard. They were there was an organization, I think, they were teaching people living there how to plant their vegetables on the roof. They were using beds, not on it, just raised beds, and they were putting some some small vegetables, tomatoes and things like that, so can it help the people there. So it's better than nothing, the idea, just to clean the area, clean the roof, and use it for something sustainable, something useful.
For clean oxygen.
Yes, of course, giving extra oxygen, extra green, extra beauty.
Tell us about the types of gardens. I mean, there are square gardens, there are circle gardens, there are vertical.
You want the general gardens, not just the roof gardens?
No, but inside even of...
yes, there are balconies, there are hanging sky garden, which are on the balconies. It's called hanging sky garden, or they are courtyard gardens that's the one like this one we can see. It's called courtyard sky garden. They are the normal roof garden, which is at the top, the
But
end
how do
of
I
the building.
plant a garden on a roof? I mean, isn't that dangerous on the building itself?
Yes, yes, it is. That's what I was trying
But
to
I think
explain.
there are
You
other
have to put
things
a
to
lot
use.
of.
I
yes,
mean, you don't
you have
use,
to
you
put
don't have to use the ground or the
Insulations.
floor.
a lot of insulations, and a lot. See this one, that one. They are using pots, not direct. They don't put the water direct because maybe here they are not ready for it. But if there is a small space as a garden like this, the one that you see just in front of the pot, it has to be prepared already before. The construction has to be heavy. A lot of layers, insulation layers, has to be prepared, and the drainage of water and gutters, to get rid of the water. It needs a lot of preparations.
I think
not
we can
just
replace
you
this
put mud
by
and
the
this.
big
No, of course
pots.
not. It won't work.
We can see big pots. I mean, this can replace it easily.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
but
But big pots, it's better than preparing, of course,
Yes.
the whole roof
But you were
itself
talking
with
about
layers.
recycling as well. This is the
Yes,
most interesting
it's
part.
beautiful. Yes, of course. Recycling. Actually, I'm very interested in this recycling area because it's rubbish all upstairs, so you can redo it and make some pergolas, make some. These pots can be made of old metals, old wood. At tires, as we said last time, if you remember, you can put. If you remember, I saw you once this kind of flower pots that use it in tires. So you can use this rubbish actually on the roof too, or not just the normal garden. Instead of keeping it on a corner, just put some flowers in it or something and be beautiful as we like it to be. And then also there is a kind of roof plant. This is one. It's all in pots, as you see. It was not prepared, and he prepared he insulated the pots. Okay? So
Right. It's very interesting, and I think just as you
this one
mentioned,
is the one intensive. This is very heavy, actually. I think there's one layer.
but this is prepared.
Yes, of course.
From the very
You know,
beginning.
at least it would be 1.5 meters of mud or something underneath it. It has to be
Yes.
prepared. Yes.
But again, still, if it is not prepared, still we have the chance.
Yes,
if you
of
want,
course.
if we need
By
to make
using
it as we mentioned,
pots
using
and
pots,
raised
Yes.
things, and by using recycled stuff, as we said, and prepare our new beautiful corner that we can sit in the sun and use our roof and being beautiful and help the environment instead of keeping it as a storage for our rubbish.
Actually, very interesting. Dr. Germin El-Gohari, Professor of Architecture, Ain Shams University, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you much. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Right, under this we come to the end of our breakfast show for today. Thank you all for joining us, and you are in the company of my colleague Dina Hussein and myself, Nashwa Rashid. Thank you very much for joining us, and stay tuned for more coming up on NAL TV International.